Well, since our last interview, Kobe Bryant passed.
Oh,
Uh, 2020 has just been a fucking train wreck, man. Like,
mhm.
and it's funny how no one talks about it now because of coronavirus. No one talks about Kobe, but that was a real disaster. Like it happened literally down the street from my house.
Right.
We walked over to, see the crash site and we got as far as we could until the police stopped us. But
Mm.
I remember there was the whole thing with the Gayle King interview with Lisa Leslie and the pushback over that. And then Snoop's comments came that called Gayle like a doghead bitch or something like that. And I remember on your show, Jason Whitlock compared Snoop's comments about Gayle to Don Imus.
Mm. Yeah.
And I know that's your man and all.
Which one, Snoop or Willock?
Whitlock.
Oh, okay. They both the homies.
I know that's your man, but to compare what Snoop said about Gayle to Don Imus, what was the nappy-headed hose comment?
Oh.
Like, I just don't. I just think that's a ridiculous comparison, personally.
Yeah. Look, they both make you perk up. They both sting you a little somewhere. Maybe one pinches harder because Don Imus obviously talking about black basketball players, and he's not black. And then Snoop talking about a sister, but he's not. I don't care even if it's friendly fire. Like, we both black, but I still come at you. Like, I think Snoop was in the wrong as well. But it's funny, Snoop and I talked about this, and he was going to come on our show to talk about it. But I think that cooler heads prevailed, and it kind of blew over. He went on Red Table Talk or something. I think that was the only time he addressed it, which is a smart move. You come on our show, it's three dudes now talking about it versus going over there and talking about how you slandered a woman. It made total sense. But Snoop's guy, I really respect. Obviously, I love me some Whitlock. That's my dog, even if we disagree. I'm not built to not like you or love you because I disagree with you. But those comments, when I heard Snoop say it, and knowing Snoop, you almost got to always inject like a comedic element or some laughing. And even the hardest Snoop is kind of like, you think he's joking a little bit. But then it's like, nah, this ain't funny, man, because everybody's not trained to take it as just entertainment. It's a real thing. It's a call of action, it sounded like almost, to certainly some of those who don't know what's up from down. So when I heard it, I was just like, all right. I know he gonna catch hell for this one. And he did. I know Gayle King as well, which is crazy. You just can't do that. Like, we got to get to a point where we can beef with each other without throwing blows and like haymakers or even worse. And, the bullets fly and all this craziness. Like, it's okay. Now, what she did, the tone of the interview certainly could have been corrected because of the timing of the interview. You got to remember, the time to crack them jokes is not necessarily at the funeral or closely thereafter or when the body's still cold, even though we've all been in situations where people laugh at their pain. I remember my mom passed away and some dude was telling a joke and one dude was asking what we gonna eat. And I was like, about to go get him. Like literally go get him. I'm still in the league at this time too, all of me. And then I remember not everybody heals the same. Not everybody feels the same. And so I kind of just like, all right, respectfully like distance myself from that to let him go through his own process. I don't think that Gayle King meant any harm as much as she wasn't as delicate as she should have been in that situation because she didn't know how people were devastated. Or if she did, she certainly ran past that stop sign because the interview could have been different.
Well, yeah, me and you do interviews for a living. So at the end of the day, I'm not giving Gayle a pass on this one. She knew exactly what she was doing. I know exactly what I do in interviews when I bring up certain type of loaded questions, when I already know the answer to them and I know the type of effect that question is going to have. I don't care what she said about, it was edited a certain type of way. No, she asked the question.
I don't buy that.
Yeah, I don't buy that because for example, like 2 days after Kobe's death, I had my friend John Sally come on to my show, and he's still crying, literally crying over it. And in the course of the interview, he touched on Kobe's rape case, but he did it in a very, respectful way.
To go through what he did in Vail, Colorado. I'm sorry, Eagle Rock. Just outside of Vail. And to be able to play the game and his only space is that. Like, dog, we would have these conversations. We would never talk about any of the case. And I was like, I'm taking this to my grave. But Kobe cannot. We would just talk about everything but that in the photo. And watching him still go through it, and then going through it with the Shaquille situation. Then he had Karl Malone on the team and Gary Payton on the squad. Like everybody, and he's going through trying to save his life from going to jail. To come out of that and to flourish, the only person I seen do that as successful was Vanessa Williams after the debacle with Vanessa Williams. He just literally was stronger than most people.
You could talk about the rape case and not do it the way that Gayle did. And
yeah,
we got no backlash over it because he touched on it because it is part of Kobe's history, but it's not like, oh, do you think that's going to mess up his legacy? Him being a rapist, you don't do that right when it happens, like right after that. And personally, I think the pushback she got was well deserved.
Right.
That's how I feel. As a professional interviewer, I could say that.
And that's why I said, look, it was tone deaf at best, if not worse. And who knows her purest intentions, what they were. But the timing already set her up. Like, all right, if you're not walking on eggshells when you want to discuss this because of the timing so close to his death, then you're going to come off as tone deaf. And that's what came off at the beginning. And then it went and just snowballed into something even greater than that. It's a hard place to go because what do we always tell these kids? Everything you do and you put on the internet is forever. Social media. Like when you talk about legacy, this is why I don't give a fuck about no legacy. This is why, because it's basically what others say about me. I'm not living that way. So when I'm dead, I'm certainly not going to give a damn what y'all say about me. Only those I have a circle of influence and concern with, and it's a small circle, is my legacy. Basically, what am I giving y'all in jewels and gems and wisdom and life and exchanging whatever it may be, materials. That's it. But when you start getting into legacy, and people understand the pure meaning of legacy, that means everything, brother. And no one wants to have that conversation, especially that time, about everything. So she was in a tough place and she did a horrible job in that place. But don't fuel that if you're Snoop to make it even worse, because you're going to end up having to apologize for something you was in the right of doing.
Right, because being tone deaf, especially during times like this, is something that you have to be aware of. I remember David Geffen posted a photo on Instagram of his $600 million yacht saying, just, quarantining here on my boat. Hope you guys are safe. In your $600 million yacht that probably has 3 people on it right now. You, your boyfriend, and your chef, and the guy who's running it. Like, I remember, we do a lot of criminal stuff, a lot of criminal stories and interviews. And right when coronavirus started to hit, one of the guys that approached us that wanted to do an interview, he basically stole millions of dollars from a hospital and balled out. And we sat back and with the hospitals being the front lines of this, do we really want to put out a guy that's stealing from a New York hospital?
Same.
No. Maybe a year or two from now when things have calmed down. So you have to be understanding of what's happening and not just what you're doing. So
yeah, but
it is what it is.
Now we're conflating issues here, which is really, I'm glad you brought this up. If I'm David Geffen, I'm like, I am going to post where I'm quarantining if I feel like it, because That's where I'm quarantining. Now, you're going to place an assessment on that because you're not quarantining as well as I am, or as in something as fresh as I am. That is a you problem. Now, I have to now take this on the head. That's one of the consequences of PC culture that I hate. Everyone is trying to be so responsible and so delicate with each other that we ain't real. Like, look, dog, this is like, I'm not trying to throw it in your face to put you down as much as I'm showing you a matter of fact. This is where I'm quarantining. Like, and we get so caught up in our own values, our own world, our myopic scope, that we see David Geffen as making us feel bad. When he just like, where do you want me to show you where I'm quarantining? You want me to leave the quarantine to show you that I'm not on this $600 million yacht? And that gonna make you feel better? You got a you problem like greater than you know. So when I see stuff that is better than me, flashier than me, fresher than me, I always tell this story. Like, you always gonna find somebody better and somebody worse. So count those with you, not against you. Like, if you want to build yourself up, just count the stuff you got going that's well and good in your life, the blessings. So if you at a red light in a Rolls Royce, there is a car that can go by to make you feel bad. And there's a lot of cars that could go by to make you feel good. But won't you just stop looking and enjoy your fucking car and just sit there and chill at the light?